Hi, it's Sam, and less than 24 hours ago I went to see the highly anticipated movie of the year for me, which was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and I have some really strong opinions about the movie that I would like to share with you, but first I would like to introduce a new member of the crew. This is the official Oxford Llama mascot. Thank you to my dad for purchasing this cute little llama for me, which I also dressed in American Girl doll clothing so he looks more scholarly. I really think it contributes to his aesthetic. But I have not named this llama yet, so if you have any ideas for me, I'd love to hear them in the comments. I know this review is coming a little late because the movie has already been out for a week or so, and those of you who read the books have probably already seen it, but I thought it was still worthwhile to put up so that those of you who read the books kind of have an idea of what you're in for, and those of you who have just seen the movie but haven't read the books know the differences, so you know if you really want to get into the book series or not after seeing the movie. So here we go. First, I'd like to say that these opinions are totally my own, and you don't have to agree with me. I know a lot of people who really loved the movie. I know a lot of people who agreed with a lot of my opinions, so it's really a toss-up, and however you feel, I'm okay with it. I love everyone. It's all love here. So going into this movie, I was so ready. I thought the eeriness of the storyline, but also the way in which it could be artfully connected to children in some sort of way, would be perfect for Tim Burton, and I thought that it would be a great fit. And I went to the movies, and after that movie, I almost cried. Without giving away any spoilers, I would like to say that Tim Burton changed many of the important characters in the book. He not only changed their ages, he changed their abilities, he changed their personalities, he changed their love interests, and I'd have to say that a lot of the changes he made did not help the plot of the movie at all. I was left grieving many of the characters that I was looking forward to seeing on film and looking forward to seeing in real life in front of me. The second thing I'd like to say, without giving away any spoilers, is that the plot is completely different. Please do not go to the Miss Peregrine's movie expecting to get a good idea of what the book is about. If you're supposed to be reading the book for a project or for a book club and you think you're going to get away with going to see the movie, you're not, because they're very, very different, and whoever reads your report or whoever you talk about it to will be very confused. I'd also like to say that if you've read the book, don't expect to see the books the way you know them. The movie was okay in its own respects. If I hadn't read the books and I hadn't cared about the series as much as I do, and I went to see the movie separately, I may have liked the movie, but they're just two completely different things. So to start, I will say some positive things about the movie. First of all, I did like a lot of the casting choices. I thought Miss Peregrine, Emma, Jacob, Claire, that's pretty much it. I thought those four characters were cast really well, and I thought that the actors who played them fit the characters pretty well. Second of all, I'd have to say that I really like the portrayal of Miss Peregrine in the movie. I kind of imagined her personality to be really just powerful, but also sort of strict and sort of witty like she was in the movie, and I thought that was just a perfect portrayal of what I imagined her to be, and I actually thought that the movie brought that character to life more than the book ever did. The third thing I really liked was actually all of the settings in the movie. I thought that the island and the peculiar mansion and home and surrounding gardens were portrayed really well, and they were actually portrayed pretty much exactly how I imagined them to be. So I thought that Tim Burton did a really good job with all of the settings in the movie. If you don't want spoilers, you haven't read the book, you haven't seen the movie, I would click away now, because the things I'm about to say are very specific changes that Tim Burton made that I am not okay with, and they give away plot elements and they give away things about the characters that you really shouldn't know before going into it. My first problem was the fact that Olive is a baby. Olive right here. Small. Tiara. Cute. Tim Burton not only decided to change her floating power, which is pretty much one of the most important powers in the entire series, but he also decided to make her old. Her personality is light. It brings light to everything because she is so hopeful and she is so optimistic even in the worst situations, and that is such an important dynamic to the entire Peculiar group, and that goes along with her power. The lightness she has in her attitude is the same lightness she actually has with her body that makes her float, and Tim Burton just completely took that away. Now, the other side of this issue that I have a deeper problem with is the fact that he switched Olive's power with Emma's power. Emma's power was originally to heat up her hands to the point where she could make fire come out of them, or she could melt things, or she could burn things. Besides for Jacob, she's pretty much one of the main leads in the book. She's probably one of the most prominent peculiar children in the series, and her powers get them out of so many tricky situations throughout the series, and how is she supposed to do that without her fire? Going into the movie, I was scared because I thought that Emma would be a weak character with the floating power. I thought that she would be represented as a girl who can't stay grounded, literally, and is floating away, and Jacob must ground her and save her and everything like that. I have to say that's not how it was. Emma was still a strong character, but that's because they also added to the power. They made it so that Emma could use air from her lungs to move water and to make big, huge gusts of wind and things like that that Olive doesn't have in the books, but I felt that that was a good thing to add because it did make Emma still powerful, which I thought was really important. I'd also like to say that Olive did not have a love interest in the book series at all, because again, she's a baby. So the whole love interest confusing thing that happened in the movie with her and Enoch, I was not okay with that on several levels. First of all, I imagined Enoch also as a little boy, and second of all, in the books, he does have sort of a jealousy factor with Jacob because he has a little bit of a crush on Emma in the first few books. It's sort of an insignificant addition to the series, but it still shows some of the reason that Enoch is kind of resentful towards Jacob and kind of doesn't warm up to Jacob as easily as the rest of the kids do. So that adds an important explanation of why there's that tension there. Making it so that Enoch wasn't liking Emma and he liked Olive instead completely confused me because it just made it so that Enoch was just randomly not okay with Jacob for no reason at all. It was a little bit confusing in parts because parts of it I thought that he did still like Emma and that's why he was jealous of Jake, and that's what I thought going into it, but then I realized that something was going on between him and Olive and I was like, what's happening? So I didn't really appreciate that added love interest, and I thought that it took away from another love interest that they completely eliminated, which I will talk about right now. That love interest is a love interest between Fiona and Hugh. Not only did they make both of them younger, so that Fiona is just this little girl with braids who runs around growing carrots, and Hugh is like a 9-year-old boy who they basically only show once playing soccer, but there were so many cute parts in the book where Emma and Jacob ran into Fiona and Hugh, and they were in the garden together at night, and their powers just went together so well, because Fiona could grow the flowers, and Hugh's bees could pollinate them, and it was just such a perfect love story, and it was just crushed. The next problem I had was Bronwyn. Bronwyn is one of my favorite characters in the book because when Miss Peregrine, the most motherly figure in the book, is absent, Bronwyn is the one who takes over that motherly role and takes care of everyone and is the strong, compassionate one who keeps all of the little ones together and who also supports the entire group physically but also mentally and emotionally. And they made Bronwyn a little girl. I understood the cuteness of having a little girl lift all of this big furniture and stuff, and I understood why that would look better in a movie, but it really took away the opportunity for Bronwyn to be the mother figure for Olive and Claire, which was an aspect of the story that I also really liked and really made me connect with those three characters, so that took that connection away from me. The depiction of the Hollows was something that I also had a problem with, because for me this was pretty much one of the scariest books I've read in the last few years. I mean, whenever I was reading it alone at night especially, I was really scared of the Hollows and I kept thinking they were in the shadows in my house, and that made the book a lot more interesting for me. So to have them depicted as these kind of silly looking Slender Man creatures that could be defeated by throwing candy at them or wrapping their legs up and just tipping them over, that was disappointing for me. One of the biggest problems I had with the movie that wasn't related to the characters at all was the entire, probably last third of the movie, which was completely different from the book, cut off possibilities of a sequel pretty much, and added plot elements that I thought were sort of ridiculous and just unnecessary. I mean, there was a skeleton war, there was a carnival, there was like so much time travel from Jacob that just didn't happen in the books. There was this entire plot line between the Whites, which they never even named as Whites. It was just sort of all off the rails. They just fought like 5 Hollows and pretty much all of the Whites in existence, which in the movie there was only like 10 or even less than that, which is not how it was in the books. And the kids basically fought them off in sort of a comical way, which in the book it was not comical at all. I was scared. I can see why that was fun for like younger audiences going to watch the movie, but at the same time it really took away from some of the more serious aspects of the book that really connected me emotionally to it and really like hooked me into the plot line. So I was disappointed in that. I thought going into this it would be a Twilight or a Divergent or a Hunger Games situation where they would make all of the books into movies and I would get to relive this wonderful series over and over again for the next few years of my life, and it turned out that they just pretty much crush the entire plot where Miss Peregrine gets taken in the end of the movie and the kids set out to find her, and instead in the end of the movie we see Miss Peregrine turning back into a human, so we know she's not injured, we know she's not stuck in bird form like she is in the book, and she flies off with the kids on the ship to go find another loop somewhere. It did cut off opportunities for the sequels, or at least the sequels I know and love to be made, and it also kind of just ruined the whole dynamic of the end of the story, because I felt like the end of the story, at least the first book, was really about the whole family dynamic that the kids had, and that was shown so well when they lost all hope. They had just fought a Hollow and a White, and their Imbryn had just been taken, and they were pretty much falling apart, but all of these little people got on these boats, these little tiny rowboats, and rowed out to sea. I thought the love and the strength of the relationships between all of the children was pretty much my favorite part of the series, so just having them kind of all succeed in a comical way in the end really ruined that for me. Otherwise, again, I thought the movie was entertaining. I thought that Tim Burton did a good job of probably captivating many audience members who hadn't read the books. I mean, I wasn't bored throughout the movie, but I definitely wasn't as captivated as I was when I read the books. So if you're willing to choose between the two, definitely do yourself a favor and read the books, because you're going to get so much of a better experience. And I think if you watch the movie first, you might not even be that interested in reading the books, which is just a shame because I think everyone should read the books. So that's my opinion on that. That pretty much much wraps up the video for today. I'm sorry it was just pretty much a rant, but I really needed to get that off my chest. As always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'd love to hear any comments you have about the movie or about the books or about anything peculiar related, and I will see you next time.